Currently, the Braves are minus 130 with the Padres at plus 110 on the money line. The total run line is set at 6.5. And tonight in the NBA, Jimmy Butler will be making his return to Miami to take on the Heat as a member of the Golden State Warriors. Golden State is currently favored by 5.5 points. That game will tip at 4:30. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at progressive.com. That's progressive.com.
Yeah, let's get it going on a Tuesday. Scientifically, the worst day of the week. Not here, not in this house. This is San Diego Sports 760. My name is Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long. Thank you for being here. If it's your first time trying us out, hang out for a little bit. Kick the shoes off. Enjoy our comfy seats. If you want to watch us, we are streaming on both X and YouTube now. On X, you can find us at Fletch and Sammy, at Fletch and Sammy. On YouTube, it is at San Diego Sports 760, which is the station YouTube page. John and Jim are broadcasted there. Sammy and I are broadcasted there as well. Sammy Long, not too happy today because his Lakers, losing games at the wrong time. Sammy, are you okay?
Very frustrating performance last night. We're going to get to it more in a little bit, but the Lakers just decided they weren't going to play defense the last week of the season. So that's a major problem heading down the stretch here.
Headline: how much trouble are the Lakers in right now? That is on the ESPN ticker as we speak. Lakers could be in some big trouble. We got a lot to get to today. There's a narrative going around town that I got to be honest, I get it in the heat of the moment, but let's sit back a little bit and wait to see what happens over the next couple of months. That is to do with Aztecs basketball, and it's frustrating right now. Nick Boyd and Magoon Guath both most likely going to be in different uniforms next year. That sucks. But there's also going to be a lot of new faces with the Aztecs, so we'll see what Brian Dutcher and Dave Velasquez are cooking up as we speak. They're working on next year's roster. And then the Padres get going in 2 days. I'm going to be downtown for that. I don't think I actually got a ticket to the game, but I'm celebrating downtown for opening day. Sammy and I will not be on the air that day on Thursday. There's going to be a special edition of John and Jim from like 10 a.m. till 2 p.m., I think, getting you ready for March Madness basketball, getting you ready for Padres opening day. All of that's going to be heard right here on San Diego Sports 760. March Madness, you're home for it. But right now, it is time we get to the top 3 stories in the world of sports. Every single day, Sammy Long brings you the big 3.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
I just heard Colin talking, Sammy, and he was talking about how this is kind of a downtime on the sports calendar. You got a little college basketball sprinkled in. We're still a couple days away from opening day in baseball, but I fail to see that. We got plenty of stuff to talk about today. Where are we going?
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on. Number one, this one that came down last night, but it was after our show, and I wanted to hit it today. So Doc Rivers was in an interview, head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks. He has been known for blowing 3-1 leads. That has been the kryptonite in his career. He calls it unfair that he faces criticism for blowing 3-1 leads, says it takes good coaching to even get 3 wins. And he referenced how Lou Williams said on his podcast that the Clippers in the bubble didn't even want to be there and wanted to go home. What are your thoughts on this, Fletch?
My thoughts are this. Imagine a chef, right, in a big fancy restaurant out in New York, right? It's a Michelin star. It's great. Oh, my God, Sammy, this place is immaculate. This chef has opened up 3 or 4 restaurants throughout his career, and they've all been these rave reviews. My goodness. But at a certain point into the restaurant's tenure, somebody gets food poisoning, gets the place shut down. But hey, it's tough to open up 3 Michelin star restaurants. Yes. It's tough to get a business going like that and to be wildly celebrated. But if every single time it ends with someone in the hospital going with food poisoning, are you really that good of a chef? Doc Rivers, what up?
That's a great analogy. I actually love that.
Thank you.
Doc Rivers, this is what I want to say to Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers is a fantastic coach, won a title with the Celtics in 2008. And yes, he's faced a lot of criticism. I think sometimes people have taken the 3-1, blowing the 3-1 leads as he's not a good coach, which is obviously not true. But Doc, There's 30 jobs in the NBA to be a head coach. You don't get paid to get 3 wins in the playoffs. You get paid to close series. You get paid however much you get paid, whether that's $10 million a year or something, to finish series. They don't care. I know you're pointing to the excuse of that James Harden and Joel Embiid didn't show up in a Game 7 in Boston. But at the same time, I don't want to hear that. You're the head coach of a national basketball team. You need to get that together.
He does have the most in NBA history, right? The most.
Yeah, he has like, I don't have it in front of me, but it's like
close.
5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
It's insane.
All right, what's next?
Number 2, Cam Ward worked out for the Tennessee Titans, who have the number 1 overall draft pick. He said, quote, I told them I'm solidifying it today. They finally got to see me throw in person. They should all be all they need to see. They are having him back for a second workout. Fletch, do you think Cam Ward is worthy of being the number 1 overall draft pick?
Potentially, especially if it is the Tennessee Titans. Now, if I'm Cam Ward, I don't know if that's where I want to be drafted to. I get it. The financial incentives are huge if you're drafted to number 1 overall. And also, you go down in history, right? Number 1 overall draft picks. You can name a lot of them off the top of your head. However, if you are Cam Ward, would you not want to go to a little bit better situation? Like, is Tennessee even 3 years away from being considered a playoff team? I don't think so. So if you're talking about the next contract, which all these guys should be thinking about, if you're not a Joe Burrow level talent, a Lamar Jackson level talent that can elevate the team so much higher around you to the point where you are in constant playoff conversation, I don't know that you would necessarily want to go to the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because you're the number 1. What was that?
Cam Ward's not that guy. At least that's not how he's being talked about right now. Like, we knew Joe Burrow could go into a situation and completely change the fortunes of a franchise.
Right. Surefire number 1 pick. There's questions with Cam Ward.
Tons.
Now, I think from a Tennessee Titans perspective, I think this is smarter to go with him over Shedeur. I think Shedeur has massive upside and could be really good. But you got to wonder if the whole Deion situation isn't a little bit clouding over it. Do you want the kind of press, knowing, to your point, Fletch, the Titans are not a team that is even close to contending. Let's say Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward was an absolute superstar in their first year. They're not going to the playoffs, and if they somehow got there, they're not going to do anything. This is not a team that's even close. I think this Shedeur kind of Deion is not shy of opening his mouth and will say what he feels, which is what people love about Deion. I'm not sure the Tennessee Titans want that. And Cam Ward, to be fair, faced higher competition in college, was at Washington State, then at Miami, and was money. I mean, the only reason Miami didn't make college football playoffs because the defense was awful. The offense was unreal. So I hear it makes sense he's going number 1.
All right, story number 3.
Story number 3, you touched on it a little bit earlier. So Magoon Gwath enters the transfer portal. Nick Boyd, this comes after a couple days ago, enters the transfer portal. How are we feeling about this? I know, as you mentioned, there's been a lot of criticism, a lot of backlash about this. Do you fault them for this? Who do you think SDSU needs to go add to be relevant next year?
Look, I don't know that I fault anybody in this outside of the NCAA. Our boy Aztec Analytics on Twitter, great follow, by the way, but he is having a meltdown, and I get it. Like, I really
great
do.
Account, Aztec Analytics.
It is a great account. I follow him a lot, and I love what he has to post. But look, yes, Magoon Gwath is probably going to be on another team. He's going to sign an NIL deal worth more money than you or I could really even feasibly think about. He's going to have a lot of success with a Power 5 program, and it's not fair that Brian Dutcher and Dave Velasquez took a 0-star recruit and built him into the Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year, the Mountain West Freshman of the Year. The fact of the matter is Magoon Gwath is most likely not going to be a San Diego State Aztec next year. The fact of the matter also is there's programs out there who are having the exact same conversations about their superstars on their team, and that person might be coming to San Diego State. I really think it's time we stop complaining about the NCAA. We stop complaining about the culture of NIL and start adapting to it. I know that that's what Brian Dutcher and Dave Velasquez and the coaching staff of San Diego State is doing. Because if you complain about something, if you bitch and moan about it and worry about what this is doing to your future,
completely,
you might not have a future.
Like, it just came down today. So far, and again, it's literally the tournament, Sweet 16. It's the middle of March Madness. 700 players, Division I players have entered the portal. Donovan Dent today just entered the portal, which is a big blow.
Go get him, Dutch.
New Mexico. Yeah, seriously. I know that would be a massive ad. I think you look at this in college football. Look at what Clemson. Dabo Swinney did not change with the times. He went, we're going to recruit and we ain't going to get anybody. We ain't getting no transfers.
And now he's sitting on the ESPN panel. And
Clemson has not been the same Clemson they were with Deshaun Watson and going back in the day where they were winning championships every year, competing for a championship. That you got to adapt with the times. And yes, you may not like it. And it's why you kudos Nick Saban. Nick Saban goes, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with recruiting my own players.
Sorry, that's who I was talking about, is sitting on the ESPN
Nick Saban,
he made the choice to leave.
Nick Saban goes, I don't want to deal with it. So kudos to him. He's I'm done. I did what I did for college football. Dabo, if you're going to be a Power 5 conference head coach, I think the same goes for college basketball. You got to adapt to this, and this is part of college basketball. I mean,
it sucks, and there's going to be regulations put in place eventually, but right now there are none. So you got to adapt. You got to change, and hopefully Brian Dutcher is out poaching guys who are super talented from teams.
State is do the same thing back.
Yeah, and look, there's going to be a lot of new faces on the Aztecs team next year. It's not just the people they already have in house. It's not just the returners. But think about it. They are going to get the best players on some teams who are further down the totem pole than they are. But that's the cost of doing business right now. You're going to lose some guys.
We were talking about this yesterday, but I can't stand that the portal is open while March Madness is going on. It's ridiculous that you almost get faulted for the teams that are still in it. The teams that are still in it are trying to win a championship. They're not thinking about next year. They almost get kind of screwed because everyone else who's out of it or who lost or didn't make the tournament is now making moves.
I actually don't know if that's true. I think most programs now, even the ones who are currently in March Madness, who are in the Sweet 16, they have people on their staff who are out recruiting, who are out working the NIL trail. Yeah, it's not the head coach, but that most of them have general managers now.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair. Stuff. But at the end of the day, who's closing the show?
It's the head coach.
Head coach.
All right. And I know, by the way, Brian Dutcher has a sit-down video where he's like, it's almost like a Rady Children's Give-a-thon or something, where he's like asking for money from the community. It is the cost of doing business right now. And there's some people online I've also seen who are saying, I might give up my season tickets if I'm being asked to pay $18 for a beer, if I'm being asked to contribute to the program. I don't think that's the right attitude to have towards this. If you care about Aztecs basketball, if you can remember fondly Lamont Butler rising up at the buzzer to hit a shot at one of the coolest moments in San Diego sports history, there is a path back to that. This isn't a situation where, the Mountain West or San Diego State in general is never going to be able to get to that moment again. I don't believe that, because they do have a superstar of a head coach who's able to kind of make lesser teams into greater situations at the end of the year. So I still have a lot of faith. I do. And we'll see what they do in the transfer portal. Dutch has been better at that than most people in the country over the years.
I mean, who thought they were going to get Nick Boyd?
Right.
I mean, who thought Magoon Guath will be interesting because he has so much raw talent that you wonder if an NBA team would look at him.
He might be in the NBA next year.
A second round pick. But if you're Magoon Guath, what your production this year does not warrant a first round draft pick, and honestly, probably in the top of the second round, it would make more sense to me to come back somewhere, but we'll see where he ends up.
All right, we'll take a quick break. By the way, follow us, subscribe to us on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760. You can find those links up on our Twitter and our Instagram accounts. Our YouTube page is brand new, fresh. Yesterday, it was born into this world. It was birthed, and now it's just a little pup, and we need your help. So subscribe to it. Nurture this bad boy with us. Paris already jumping in. Good afternoon, boys. Work is getting in my way. Paris, just ignore work. We'll tell your boss it's okay.
Yeah, we'll write you a note.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, the Lakers took a rough L last night, and just listen to these words. Tom Brady has a newsletter, and he's spilling like serious tea on it. We'll talk about it all coming up next at San Diego Sports 760. San Diego Sports 760 on a Tuesday, and we are your home for March Madness. Catch all the action from the playing games to the Final Four. Sweet 16 action gets going on Thursday and Friday. It'll begin at 4 o'clock both days right here on your home for March Madness, San Diego Sports 760. Today is my 3rd wedding anniversary with my beautiful wife, Kendall.
Aww.
And I'm thinking this might be a bad idea, but I think it's really funny. Our honeymoon, we took the week after our wedding, like most people do, and we went to a beautiful resort down in Cabo San Lucas and had like the best week ever. I'm thinking about taking a bunch of pictures that we took together in Cabo and kind of cropping her out of them, at least.
Hola, papi.
Nice. And just posting those as a happy anniversary deal. Do you think that's messed up?
I think it'd be funny. But I'm not the one that has to go home to her. So I would have a blast, and I know everyone on Twitter would have a real good time with that.
I just think it's kind of funny, but maybe it's a little messed up. I don't know.
You mentioned before the show that we're still searching for a gift.
I honestly, a little like insight into our life. We are insanely busy right now on the house hunt. And so I know for a fact she has not gotten me anything. And we had already said that we aren't getting each other anniversary presents because we're saving all our money to purchase a home. And I have not even given an ounce of thought to what I should get her for our anniversary.
Well, Andy Samberg and Justin Timberlake told you what to do.
I think if I did that, she'd burn the box or kick the box. I don't think that's a likely outcome here. But yeah, text us or comment.
It's cost effective. I try to tell you, Fletch.
Just have to
cost effective.
Hit us up on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760 and let me know what I should get my wife for her anniversary. I'm not getting her another dog, not spending a bunch of money today, but I do need to get her something.
You have an easy gift that I just gave
Sammy,
you.
I'm not doing that either. I'm telling you.
Text line 70470. Start your message with team. Let us know if you think it's a good idea for Fletch to pull an Andy Samberg and Justin Timberlake.
I'm not comparing myself to you, Darvish, but I would be on the IL a lot longer than he would if I were to do the box. So I'm not going to do that. Text line also said earlier, you're not going to start with Magoon. Well, we kind of did. It was the final story in the big 3. And look, it is tough, but I would say don't overreact as of now. I would say wait, see what San Diego State does over the next couple of months in the transfer portal. There's going to be names added to this program, and we'll see. That might not be done, by the way. There might be more people leaving this team. More people might enter the transfer portal.
You're looking at Miles Bird, and you don't know. He said he was coming back, but I mean,
so did Nick Boyd.
Exactly. And I don't think you thought the NBA at some point in the season, I doubt with how they ended, the whole team basically ended in the first 4. I bet that they come back, try to improve their draft stock, but you never know if he goes to try it out.
Yeah, it is tough. 949, by the way, said, Fletch, our favorite player, Magoon, is gone. It's the Dodgerification of college basketball. Atrocious. How can a small school like San Diego State maintain a star in this wild, wild west? It's the cost of doing business in 2025. We'll see where it goes. I do think there's going to be regulations. I saw this brought up a lot yesterday that contracts are the next step for college sports. Maybe that's the case. Maybe you sign a kid when he's a freshman to a 4-year deal, but I just don't know that legally you could do that as of now.
I think what needs to happen, we mentioned it last segment, there needs to be, the transfer portal should only be open after the season is done. After the national championship is played, the next day it should open, and then it's a free-for-all for all teams. It's kind of fair that way, number 1. Number 2, I think there should be a limit on how many times you can transfer. I think this is different if your head coach gets fired or the person who recruited you gets fired, and I understand where your value is not going to be on the same team, and you thought you signed up for something that is not there. I don't think Kyle Ford is a receiver for USC. He committed to USC his freshman year. Could get this wrong. He went to Texas, then he went to Tennessee, and then he came back to USC in like 4 different sites. He's a junior. So it's getting a little excessive how it's like every year guys are moving. This is not the NFL. But then again, I'm not going to fault a guy for going to get his money.
It's probably going to get worse before it gets better, but I'm not on the Stephen A. Smith side of things where he says college basketball is going to die because of this. I don't think that's the case. It's too good to do that.
Well, the ratings, it just came in today, 9.3 million over the first weekend. Huge. Why? Because blue bloods are in it. Teams that people recognize are in it. Everyone loves a good story, but at the end of the day, no one knows who St. Peter's is.
Yeah. Kevin Acee coming up at 12:30. We'll talk Padres. We'll talk you, Darvish. We'll talk opening day. We'll talk about Tyler Wade because we're all heartbroken over Tyler Wade. But Tom Brady has a newsletter The man who signed I believe, $330 million deal at Fox. The man who
Dude, I'd be sitting on the beach.
more money than anybody, has a newsletter apparently that he sends out to subscribers. So if you want to give Tom Brady more money, you could subscribe to that. But in his newsletter, Tom Brady talked about a natural tension that developed with head coach Bill Belichick during their tenure together. Tom Brady said, and I quote, "For me, it was a creeping decision that lived passively in the back of mind for 2 to 3 years until March of 2020, when a whirlwind of a few days made me realize that a decision was coming sooner rather than later. The reality was, after 20 years together, a natural tension had developed between where Coach Belichick and I were headed in our careers and where the Patriots were moving as a franchise. It was the kind of tension that could only be resolved by some kind of split or one of us reassessing our priorities." I thought that Brady and Belichick had buried the beef.
I don't think he's bringing up the beef, though. I think he's just
bringing up the beef.
No, but I think he's just explaining what happened. And I think in Brady's defense, I think this is fair. Think about the amount of pressure. Bill Belichick was a hard-ass coach. He didn't talk to the media. It was his way or the highway. You have Tom Brady, who's the GOAT as of right now. But then people forget, before he went to Tampa Bay and won a Super Bowl, it was always, is he really a product of Belichick? Is this real? If you put Aaron Rodgers with Tom Brady with Bill Belichick, would he have double the Super Bowls? And it was always kind of in the back of your mind. So there's natural tension there. And obviously both these guys have massive egos, as they should, because they're all-time winners. And of course, I mean, they came out in that special, said that they never went to dinner once. I mean, Belichick's system, not really letting Brady put up the MVP type numbers. How many years would Brady be like 10th in QBR? Because they would run the ball, they would take away all his touchdowns on the goal line. So I'm sure naturally you develop a sense of, I want to go prove to the world that I don't need this guy to be great.
Right, but this is 3 years later now. Tom Brady's been retired. This will be the third season without Tom Brady.
Well, he needs content for his newsletter.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like 3 years later, you're putting it in a newsletter? Like 3 years later, when everybody still acknowledges that he's the greatest head coach of all time, you're the greatest quarterback of all time, you two together built the greatest dynasty of all time. Everyone's fine with just leaving it at that. And now Tom Brady's back out there saying, "No, yeah, we hated each other. It was total crap."
You know what I was thinking on the way in when you sent this to me? It's kind of amazing that he owns part of the Raiders, and it hasn't really come up yet about the team meetings, because he's not allowed in any of them. Like when the Raiders are playing the Chargers, there's no way the Chargers are going to let Tom Brady in their team meetings.
No.
It's kind of insane that you're making what, $330 million off your, just sit there and call games. It's not an easy job, but it's the best job in the world.
It's actually a brutal job.
It's a brutal job, but you just show up, you talk for 3 hours, and you get paid a ton of money. I'm like, he's got newsletters going on, he's got ownership in the Raiders. I'm like, this guy wants to come back to the NFL so bad.
Just wait. We're a matter of weeks away from Tom Brady getting his own Barstool show.
619 says, sounds like a divorce.
It does. That's legit. Like, it's so dramatized. It sounds like a divorce, a breakup, a split. Tom Brady currently is the college blonde who's sitting in her dorm room eating ice cream, drinking red wine, and watching The Notebook. Like, what are we doing?
I think 619 was referencing Andy Samberg and
maybe,
and it could have been either or. That's why it's a mysterious text.
I'd be on the IL for weeks, man, if I were to do that. Kevin Acee is coming up next. We're going to talk some Padres with Kev. We got to get into Tyler Wade. Wadey is no longer going to be a part of the Padres. I think I have that right. I could be wrong on that. Kevin will shed some light, and we'll talk about Yu Darvish and what the plan is at pitcher. Sorry, reading Fletcher, saying pitcher. At pitcher for the Padres come opening day. San Diego Sports 760. We'll be right back.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radio's Just In per ESPN. The Titans are impressed with Cam Ward, but eye a bigger trade haul. They will be hosting him one more time after hosting him yesterday for another workout. And the Padres will host the Atlanta Braves to open the MLB regular season on Thursday. Chris Sale will be going for the Braves, while Michael King will get the opening day start for the Pods. Currently, the Braves are minus 130 on the money line, with the Padres checking in at plus 110. The total run line is 6.5. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscriptions ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio, get an extra 5% off.
San Diego Sports 760. We got some tickets to give away today. Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, all at the Outlaw Country Music Festival coming up in May. We will give those away in just a little bit. It's Ticketmaster.com for tickets and info. It's out at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Two of the GOATs of the music era, and Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan. But right now we talk to the GOAT of writing things down and having people react to it. Kevin Acee, what's going on, pal?
How you doing?
We're good. You want to start with Twitter, your favorite place in the whole wide world?
Sure. What's up?
Okay, you have a tweet out or a post out on X running back some Padres fans' theories that there wasn't going to be any food vendors at Petco Park this year running up and down the aisles.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
What's going on with that?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Some people got it somewhere and it wasn't true. And there's sometimes, and I don't look at Twitter much at all. I'm not aware of very much that's happening even on this topic. But when I do start to hear about it through other channels, there's sometimes you go, gosh, like maybe people should have the truth. And so you put out the truth.
Do you know how this even started, that there wasn't going to be anyone running up and down the aisles at Petco Park this year?
I think there's this website, and I don't know what it is. There's this website that has information on Petco Park, maybe on Padres games. Look, if I spent, it can be so frustrating. I'm sure that you do it, but and other people, but especially a journalist like who, a job is to put out information. If I chase down every rumor I hear beyond, kind of thinking about it for a second, oh my gosh, there's just so much information out there now, and a lot of it is bound to be half true or not true at all. And then, of course, Twitter is a big giant game of telephone, right? Remember that game? I don't know. Maybe you didn't. When we were kids, we would play a game called telephone, where one person in a line would say something, and then you'd send it 10 people down the line and see what message the 10th person got. And it was always, haha, that's funny. It's so different than what the first person said. Well, I don't think it's very funny anymore a lot of times, because on Twitter, things just go. And I don't think anybody does anything. I shouldn't say that. In this case, I don't think anyone did anything maliciously or in trying to spread it. It would be a terrible thing if there were no vendors. I mean, not terrible like end of the world, but like it would be a bummer.
It might be the end of the world, Kevin. I need cold beer to come to me in my seat.
It's yeah. I mean, you don't want to get up to spend your $14. You want them to
exactly.
come to you.
Absolutely.
But anyway, it's just so funny how things spread out there. When I say funny, I laugh so I don't cry.
Okay, Kev, if we don't get off of this and get to something important with the Padres, Sammy and I might be on the jobs. Well, let's talk about you, Darvish. What's the latest? When can you expect to see him on the mound?
No idea. He's got to throw. I don't know that anyone has any idea. I mean, you just don't. You want to set these days. You want to say, okay, let's plan for our team here. But Yu Darvish has got to play catch again. And then he's got to play catch again. And then he's got to play catch again. And it's got to not hurt. And then he's got to get on a mound. And get on a mound again. And get on a mound again. I mean, so 2 weeks, 2 months, never. I really couldn't tell you.
Oh my gosh.
I said never. Listen, we can have conversations here.
Kevin, Jim is listening in the other room. He's going to clip that right now.
Without it going viral, I'm just trying to point out that we don't know. And the bottom line is, it's a bad thing that Yu Darvish is not pitching for the Padres now, and it's a bad thing that we don't know. But it's also a 6-month season, and Yu Darvish could return on April 26th and have a fine season, and then it'll be like you barely remembered that he wasn't there. And so I guess that's what you hope for.
Kevin, I know we've been asking you who's going to be the fifth starter forever now. Now it seems like Pavetta's going to move into the three. We need 4 and 5 starters. I know Kolek got touched up a little bit yesterday. Is it kind of going to be a deployment of Waldron, Kolek, and Vasquez, or who do you see for the inside track for 4 and 5?
Well, 4 and 5 are, and we'll just call them 4 and 5 because there's the final 2 spots, are Hart and Vasquez. That's to start the season. Then when does Matt Waldron get to throwing after the oblique injury? When does he get back on the mound? How long does it take him? What does he look like in El Paso? Matt Waldron will probably pitch for the Padres. I mean, when I say probably, I mean, it's almost certainly will pitch for the Padres this year, just like Stephen Kolek will almost certainly pitch for the Padres this year. But Vasquez and Hart are going to start the season as members of the rotation. It was trending that way, as well as Stephen Kolek did. You know, he spent the last 2 years being a reliever. He's still getting kind of the proper sequencing down, the routine down. He did a lot of good things in spring, but it just sort of seemed like they were leaning toward, hey, you know, as long as Randy Vasquez shapes up a little bit here, and we really like what we're seeing out of Kyle Hart, Kolek's the guy who can, you know, really benefit from some more time down there.
So Yuli Gurriel and Kevin Acee joining us today, by the way. Yuli Gurriel at 40 years old, Martin Maldonado at 38 years old make the roster for opening day for the Padres. Tyler Wade, who I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Kev, will now hit waivers or be traded by the Padres, does not make the opening day roster, is out of minor league options. Does that mean Tyler Wade is gone and the Wadey experiment is over? Does that, where are we at with Tyler Wade and the fact that he did not make the roster this year?
It probably does. I mean, Tyler Wade could go to another major league team, or he could decide he wants to play in El Paso. But what Tyler Wade and his agent have to weigh is, what's the future here? Like, it is a real thing what his value to the team was in terms of what he could do on the field and what he provided in the clubhouse. That was a real thing. But it wasn't valued enough that he was kept. So will it, you know what I mean? Like they're bringing in Yuli Gurriel, Martin Maldonado, Jose Iglesias, have their own veteran experiences, guys who have accomplished things in this game. And, you know, they valued what Tyler Wade brought, but not enough to keep him on the team because of the makeup of this team. It had to come down to have that pinch runner bunt guy. Well, Brandon Lockridge could be that guy. And Brandon Lockridge is far superior on defense. I mean, this had to be Brandon Lockridge. It just did. Otherwise, what was the competition in spring about? And what you saw was not only the results with Brandon Lockridge, but the growth with Brandon Lockridge, and that it was real that, you know, he could be a player in this league. Now, look, he's got to earn his keep. So does Yuli Gurriel, Martin Maldonado, Jose Iglesias, Gavin Sheets. They all do. But like, I think that Tyler Wade and his agent would have to look and go, we need to find teams that maybe there's a place for Tyler Wade to come up. And I'm not saying there isn't here, but like, what does he bring that they don't already have? Now, that's not to say he won't be missed. He will be. But like, this happens all the time and teams move on.
Outside of being excited just the baseball's back and opening day, what are your number one thing you're looking for over the first week or two of the season for the Padres?
Gosh, you know, what does that back end of the starting pitching look like? What does Alex Jacob look like? Those types of things, because like, it's such a long season that I have to remind myself all the time that while I need to hold the team accountable and kind of give, you know, as a conduit to the fans, like give like a real time, up to date evaluation of the team. 2 weeks. You know what happens after 2 weeks? We just played less than one game of an NFL season. So like I have to constantly remind myself of that. Okay, got to report in real time. Got to talk about what's happening and what it means for the future. But like, oh my gosh, like I just got done rehashing with Schilt last season, and a story that I wrote at the mid part saying they'll be fine. Here's what's happened. They're 500. That's disappointing, but they'll be fine. And what on the outside was not being realized was all the change, the culture change, Manny Machado not playing third base to start the season, Jackson Merrill transitioning to being a center fielder and being in the major leagues. Fernando Tatis Jr. playing with a hurt leg. New players coming in. Bullpen wasn't great and was Schilt and Niebla and the bullpen guys were figuring out their roles. There was just so much that was happening. They were thrilled to be 500. And when I say that, not thrilled that they weren't 20 games over, but like they were like, okay, we're playing good baseball. We'll get there. That was more than halfway through the freaking season. And there was still so much left to be played. We've got to remember that. So that's why my answer is like, hey, I'm super curious to see how some of these individuals do and how the Padres react. How do they react to a couple rough starts by whoever, right? How do they react to couple rough outings by this reliever, and what are they going to do there? How do they react? Because look at Jason Hayward's on probation. And when I say probation, I mean, look, they put him on the team, and they believe he can perform and help them, or they wouldn't have put him on the team. But they're not like crazy. They're not idiots. They know that Jason Hayward is 35 and that he doesn't look great, but like, they've got to see him in real games. He got better as the spring went on. They don't want to make judgment on that, on spring games. So Jason Hayward's on probation. Yuli Gurriel's on probation. Martin Maldonado's on probation to some extent. Like everyone who's not on the core to some extent is on probation. And I want to see how that goes and what the team does in reaction to those guys' performance. But I am not going to get crazy over anything for a long time into this season.
Kevin Acee, Union Tribune, our Padres insider. He'll be with us all season long on Tuesdays at 12:30. Kev, appreciate the hell out of you. I know it's not an easy week for you. Our buddy Bryce Miller passing away this past weekend. Press box is going to look a little different at Petco Park this year. I wanted you to know, very sorry for your loss, Kev. He was a buddy of mine too, but I know this one stings a little bit.
Yeah, he was. I think that everyone that knew him was a friend of Bryce's, and the more that I got to know him, and honestly, it was just this past year that we spent more time together and spent some time together off the field. If I could say to anyone about a coworker, do if you want to, do try to get to know him because you'll be better for it. So I'm really glad about that. Thanks for saying that.
Yeah. Thank you, Kev. Appreciate the hell out of you, man. Rest in peace to Bryce, and prayers go out to his family, obviously, and prayers go out to you, Kev. You have a great day, man.
Hey, thanks. See ya.
All right, Kevin Acee, there he goes. Union Tribune with us every single Tuesday throughout this Padres season, and it doesn't get any easier, man. You talk about a guy like Bryce Miller, what he means to this city. Bryce passing away this past weekend. If you missed the news, I know he and Kev were very close. We'll take a quick break here on San Diego Sports 760. We got long shots coming up next. Sammy is going to make you some money. Stay tuned. San Diego Sports 760. You can find us at AM 760, also on the free iHeartRadio app. But AM radio, it does keep Vital Voices accessible. Congress can secure its future, but we need your help. Text AM to 52886 right now to support keeping AM radio in cars. Tell your member of Congress to pass legislation now to keep AM radio in cars. Standard message and data rates to apply. Always love chatting with Kevin Acee. Got some good stuff there. I worry that maybe something's going to be taken out of context with the Yu Darvish thing. He did say it could be 2 weeks, could be 2 months, could be never. I don't think he means it could actually be never. I think we will see Yu Darvish play again this season for the San Diego Padres, but we'll see when that is. And I think Kevin's spot on when he says nobody knows. We don't know. The Padres don't know. Yu doesn't know. So we'll see. But certainly that is a big hole in the starting rotation to start the season. And then, yeah, I kind of knew we were going to talk about Bryce Miller a little bit. I knew that was going to be tough for Kev, and I think he handled it with complete class. And I think the message rings true. If you have coworkers that you care about, get to know them outside of work. With that, let's get to long shots. Sammy Long, my coworker, who I do know a little bit outside of work. Sammy, hit the button.
Let's see. Underdogs? Nah, that's old. Those with a less than good chance of winning? Too wordy. Wait, got it. It's time for Sammy's long shots.
Dante DiVincenzo, you're dead to us.
Dante, shout out to Ty, by the way, who was sending me picks yesterday. Love the Halliburton pick hit, the Luka first half hit. Dante, come on, brother. What are we doing there? We can't get 13 points.
What college did he play on? He went to an elite.
He went to Villanova. He was part of the Villanova, team. Hart, Brunson, that whole team.
Right.
All right. So due to 949, a loyal listener, recommending that I pick primetime games so they can watch in the NBA instead of if you don't have the NBA League Pass or NHL, you can't do it.
Or there's websites
or legal websites that we don't need to get into on air, but they're out there. Just make sure you find them. Make sure they're legit.
DM Schlong on Twitter.
SK Long at 13 can help you out. He has a few other apps as well. But if in case any police officers are listening, I have no idea what you're talking about. So we're doing primetime games. We're doing the association today because MLB is not going on yet, and March Madness will be this weekend. So big game of the day. Golden State taking on Miami. Obviously from the trade, Jimmy Butler, rough leaving there with Pat Riley, really kind of making it hard for him to get out of there and kind of smearing his name, talking about it practices, wouldn't let him in the practice.
Jimmy revenge game.
You know,
I like it.
35 points, rebounds, and assists. We're going more than. I'm giving us the rebounds and assists because I think number one, Golden State's gonna be trying to get him the ball tonight. I think you see this in the line for Steph Curry. It's actually only at 22.5. I think it's reflecting this. They're gonna be getting him the ball a lot. Jimmy's got something to prove. What I hope happens is they boo him because that means that we have even more motivation going into the game. That's the big question.
It's in Miami, yeah.
It's in Miami.
Okay.
So we're gonna historically late arriving crowd, which it's like a real thing.
It's a late city.
Have
you spent any time in Miami?
I've always wanted to go.
They don't even get started till like 10:30 at night.
God, I want to go to Miami.
It's crazy.
Oh my God.
And they don't really get started till like 1 a.m. And you stay out all night.
Little summer trip to.
At that time I was doing a 9 a.m. show Eastern. But 6 a.m. here I was doing the mornings. I was a dead fish that morning, trying to suck down a nitro cold brew from Starbucks to get me kind of awake after partying one night in Miami.
Hola, mommy.
See, what's next?
See, I like how you did that. All right, same game. Andrew Wiggins. People forget he was part of the trade as well. So all the attention is going to be on Jimmy Butler tonight. Andrew Wiggins has really been playing excellent ball as of recently. He actually had 50 points, rebounds, and assists combined the other night against Charlotte. Really good player. And Miami's it's odd how bad they are actually, because if they're a very solid team, they're just lacking the number one option between Harrell and Wiggins. Wiggins more than 21 points. He's gonna get more than 21 tonight. He's playing his old team, a team he won a title with in Golden State. More than 21 points for Andrew Wiggins tonight. Now the night game on prime time is Kings in Oklahoma City. I got a little bit of a fun one going on here. You can find this on Prize Picks. Zach LaVine and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 10 combined assists. We're going less than on this. Shai shoots the ball the whole time. Shai doesn't need to pass to anyone on his team except for himself. He's going to be shooting the ball. And Zach LaVine has really become the primary scorer on this Kings team. I think we're not going to see I think they'll both score a lot of points tonight. I don't think assists. So less than 10 assists, special combo going on right now. And my fourth pick, also in the Kings primetime game, Malik Monk, 17.5 points. He comes off the bench, but has been elevated into the starting lineup, has been amazing, was a former Laker, playing for Sacramento now, and really has kind of been the unsung hero. And ever since De'Aaron Fox has left, he's had to take on a larger role in the offense. So let me repeat the bet, and Fletch, you're going to veto one. Jimmy Butler, more than 35 points, rebounds, and assists. Andrew Wiggins, more than 21 points. Zach LaVine and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 10 assists combined, less than. Malik Monk, more than 17.5 points. What are you vetoing?
It's the storyline veto. It absolutely is.
No.
Wiggins is the storyline veto, and here's the reason why. Who's going to be guarding him tonight?
Who's going to be guarding Wiggins? Podziemski or Kuminga?
Or Jimmy Butler?
Oh, okay.
Jimmy Butler, one of the best defensive players in the NBA. He's really notched up his defense since joining Golden State.
Okay.
Jimmy Butler was something to prove tonight. I think you're right.
Okay.
He takes it personally. He might be shutting down Wiggins to show the Miami Heat fans that they really effed up by bringing in this guy instead of me.
I like that. I like that.
Is the veto.
All right, so we're vetoing that one. So the final.
In fact, I would even feel confident enough to say Wiggins is just a less than, leave it at 4.
Really?
That's what I would say.
Okay. I'm going to do that. I'm feeling a little risky today. We're going to add Wiggins. We're going to go less than.
Feeling a little saucy.
Less than 20 points. So the final entry of the day. Jimmy Butler, 35 points, rebounds, and assists, more than. Zach LaVine and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 10 assists combined, less than. Malik Monk, more than 17.5 points. Andrew Wiggins, less than 21. We're buying a new house off this parlay.
Yeah, with all $200 that we win.
Fletch is going to go get his wife a present, even though I gave him a very free option that the text line loves.
Dude, we're not doing that.
I'm just telling you, it's affordable,
right.
cost-effective, fun. You know,
I'm submitted. I'm in.
Especially after watching White Lotus last night, you should have done.
Dude, I'd like to say that I just gave up on the show after 5 minutes into the newest episode, but I didn't. I watched the whole thing. That's the highest viewed episode of White Lotus ever.
People get a little
like 4.7 or something million people watch that on Sunday night. That number has grown because people like me don't watch on Sunday night. They watch on Monday afternoon. Like there's a point, Mike White, who I do think is kind of a creative genius, who has basically made a show about nothing, now lasts for 3 years.
Yeah. It's
too far.
It's okay. So I was talking, it's actually my mom's idea. She had an interesting question. What makes you give up on a show? For everyone who hasn't seen White Lotus, because that's maybe half the audience has seen it. What makes you, we're going to get to this next hour. What makes you give up on a show? Are you one of those people, Fletch, that like you're watching till the end? You're like, I'm committed. I watched half the season. I'm in, I'm finishing it. Or are you like one bad episode, I'm out?
I think I've started more shows than just about anybody in the world. I have not finished more shows than just about anybody in the world.
Really?
Boredom gets me. How have I not gotten bored with White Lotus?
See,
nothing happens.
HBO is the master at releasing one episode a week at a time and it becoming a whole discussion. So part of me, even though I don't love this season of White Lotus, I just want to like know what's going on so I can talk. I
think I hate it. I don't even think it's that I don't love it. I think I actively dislike it.
It's because the characters in the second season, they were likable. Half the cast was likable. This season, they made all the characters like either messed up morally or messed up in the head or like it is insane. 70470. Sorry, message with team. Let us know what makes you give up on a show and what show have you given up on recently.
I think I'm done with White Lotus. I don't know that I'm watching.
There's only 2 episodes left.
I don't know that.
I mean, at this point, you got to find out who got killed.
I guess so. All right, we'll take a break. Hour number 2 coming up next. It's the Fletch Zone. But before we do that, take that lineup that Sammy just made for you and throw it into your PrizePicks app. You can download it today. It's a free download on the App Store, on the Google Play Store, whatever phone you have, you can make it work. Download PrizePicks, and when you do, use promo code Fletch, FLETCH. Coming up on Thursday, it's not just going to be basketball picks that Sammy's doing every day. We got baseball that's getting started for the Padres on Thursday. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use promo code Fletch, FLETCH. Join the tens of millions of members who have already won billions of dollars on PrizePicks. I know I'm doing my part. I'm up to over $4,200 won so far on the platform. That's $4,200 that has gone into my bank account. Download the app today. Start crafting lineups. Use Sammy's lineup. He gives them out for free every single day. He should really start charging for these. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use promo code Fletch. Join the millions of players who are already playing and run your game all around the bases all season long on PrizePicks.
This sport is sponsored by San Diego Zoo Panda Ridge. Jimmy Butler will be making his return to Miami tonight when the Golden State Warriors take on the Miami Heat. Golden State is currently favored by 5.5 points. That game will tip at 4:30. And per ESPN, the Titans are interested in Cam Ward. Will host him for another workout, but are looking to move the pick for a massive trade haul. The Pandas are back at the San Diego Zoo at Panda Ridge as you become immersed in their natural surroundings. Plus, every visit helps protect these majestic animals in the bamboo forest they depend on. See pandas for the first time, so all you can see them for generations to come.
San Diego Sports 760. It is hour number 2. My name is Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long. We'll be here till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. You can stream us on our brand new station YouTube page at San Diego Sports 760. John and Jim will be broadcast there every day. We will as well. Text line, as always, is open 70470. Start your message with team. We're going to get to the big 3 hour 2 coming up in just a couple minutes. But first, Fletch, it's your birthday eve. Better celebrate double time. Take Kendall tonight to the Marine Room for a romantic ocean dinner. We talked about that because today's also our wedding anniversary, our 3rd wedding anniversary. We're both dieting. So we're not really eating food right now. We're just eating lean.
Fletch is looking very trim over there for everyone on camera.
I'm down a lot of weight, actually, in the new year. 619, Fletch, so sorry to hear about Bryce Miller. My empathy to you and thoughts to you, Kevin, and all that were close to him from SoCal Jayhawk. Thank you, buddy. I'm not going to sit here and say I was the closest to Bryce. We texted a lot, had him on the show a ton, hung out with Bryce in Vegas a few times covering San Diego State. He was an incredible, incredible man, but you heard it in Kevin, the impact that he had on people's lives. Kevin is not unique in that. I'll tell you, there are some wet eyes around the building over the last couple of days just thinking about Bryce and people who we work with on a daily basis who are incredibly close to him. It's very, very sad that we lost Bryce at just 56 years old. 858, definitely veto Andrew Wiggins. I did. That was the veto.
He did. That's our resident Miami fan. He's always looking out for us. He said the other day to not pick Miami players.
615, I give up on a show when one of the main characters turns into a diva and doesn't renew their contract, a la Kevin Costner in Yellowstone.
Yes, 615, I completely agree with you. Yellowstone was an excellent season 1, and after that, it got so dumb.
It was good for like 3 seasons.
I mean, like Beth and what's the one?
Kevin Costner was around for like 3-4 seasons.
Grandson.
Like
going out on the plane.
The best line in that entire show is Rip walking out of the house, Beth coming up to him, and him saying, "Beth, I do not have the time for you today." It was perfect.
See, it's too, and then the one guy Jimmy who they're like harassing on the ranch.
Yellowstone was great. I didn't watch whatever the Costner list season is, but up till that point, it was awesome. 619, if Guy Talk didn't get his gun back, it'd have been done. He's my likable character on the White Lotus. Guy Talk and Mook are adorable.
See, 619, I appreciate the text. I find them so annoying.
Why? Because you have to read when they're talking?
No, that's not why.
I'm just kidding. I don't know.
No, that's not why.
About them.
That's not why at all. Well, I find it annoying because he's a horrible security guard.
He is
he walks away from his post like 20 times during his shift. He is there to make sure no one enters, and he's just wandering around looking for a gun. I'm like, dude, like, why don't you get your head in the game?
858. The only good thing about White Lotus this season is Walter Goggins and Parker Posey. Yes. Is Parker Posey the mom?
Yes.
She's fantastic.
She's great.
She kills this role. She is perfect.
And Goggins is so funny in Righteous Gemstones.
I do really like Walter Goggins.
And Vice Principals.
747. 747 will respond to this text in a little bit. It's about the Tom Brady stuff we were talking about a little bit earlier. We will get back into that this hour. We will get to the big 3 in just a second. But before we do, Magoon Guath is no longer a San Diego State Aztec, at least for right now. He entered the transfer portal. He does have the option to return to the San Diego State Aztecs, as does Nick Boyd. But here's what Brian Dutcher had to say about it yesterday. Quote, just grateful to have him in the program. I like all the kids we have in our program. I like Nick. I like Magoon. I wish them all the best. There's no ill will here. It's a new world. And financially, there's a lot of money out there. It's like a guy, if he comes up in a corporation, you bring him in as an intern, he develops and turns into a really good employee. Then he leaves for a better job with more money. How can you be mad at a guy? Yeah, you developed him, but he's good at what he does. And now he stepped out and decided he wants to do something financially. It sucks, but if Brian Dutcher can be that mature about it, I kind of think we all should too.
Yeah, and Brian Dutcher is such a class act.
He's the one who developed them.
Right.
So as
and by the
fans,
way,
yeah, we're pissed.
We're finding out about this now. They've known about this for a month.
Probably.
They've known they're doing gauges with the players on who they think is staying, who's not. So I don't think this is more of a shock to all of us as fans than it is to the program, in my opinion.
All right. We'll get to big 3 hour number 2, get to some of these YouTube chats coming up in just a little bit. We have a ton of them today. And again, if you want to stream us every single day right here, San Diego Sports 760, you can find us on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760 for me and Sammy, John and Jim. That is where we live now. Find us there. Big 3, hour 2. Sammy, hit the button.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
Sammy, where are we heading in hour 2?
We're heading to my beloved Los Angeles Lakers, 3-7 in the last 10 games, dropping another one to the Magic last night. The defense has really been struggling in the last 2 games. How far do you think is too far the Lakers can fall in the standings before you start getting concerned, Fletch?
On that 6 line, the Warriors area, if they're having to fight for their lives to avoid the play-in, that gets pretty worrisome for the Lakers. If they continue with this trend, that's not out of reach.
It's not out of reach.
It's so bunched up right now from that really 2 to like 7 range.
Mm-hmm.
If the Lakers have to end up in a 1-game play-in situation, I would raise the trouble flag a little bit.
100%. The last couple games have been pathetic defensively. They really, the way the Lakers have to play defense.
Can I pause you real quick? It's so funny when there's a negative Chiefs or Lakers story, your whole voice changes.
Doesn't
you go down. It's like
they made me so mad last night.
It's like gravity is pushing you down deeper to the ground. You're like a brutal night.
They weigh on me.
Lakers.
I mean, because you come off a Bulls loss where they drop 146 on you, and you kind of go, it's a random night in the NBA, getting ready to go on the road trip. Bad night, chalk up to a bad night. The Magic, who are one of the worst scoring teams in the entire NBA, come in here and are jacking up shots. And the Lakers, are not playing defense. Things that I don't care if you play professionally, college, high school, or you play shooting around with your pops in the church parking lot. You put your hand up, you contest, you close out, you do basic things. The Lakers were not interested in doing that last night. It was disgusting to watch. I need them to get back on track tomorrow against the Indiana Pacers.
Just in case, which I don't think anybody thinks this, you think Sammy's like maybe putting on a little bit of show. Here's what he wrote on the rundown, and we have a live document that we can both see at all times. Defense has been dog-s in the last 2 games. They've lost 7 out of 10. How do they get this turned around? Not being in the play-in isn't guaranteed. Luka blames himself and LeBron. What did Luka have to say?
Luka just said it's on him and LeBron to kind of get it back together. Luka's been exceptional offensively. The Lakers' offense has been fine the last couple games. The problem is the defense that was number 1 defensive efficiency. The way they play, they don't have the size to just match up man-to-man on everyone. They have to be feisty defensively, jumping passing lanes, and they have not been doing that the last few games, and it's costing them, and they better get it turned around fast.
All right, we got another one.
Number 2, Padres. Win total is set at 85. I got it right here, 85.5. Do we think that's too high, too low, or just right?
It feels around the right number to me. We were talking earlier this week about 82.5. I think that was brought up on our text line. 85.5 feels like the right number. Look, last year is probably not going to repeat itself. They're not going to be the best team in all of baseball in the second half of the season, most likely. That was a special run of 70-ish games for the Padres last year. I doubt that same thing can repeat itself this year. But what they could do is be a little bit better in the first half, maybe be a few games over 500 by the time you get to the All-Star break, and see what you can do in the second half. I think that all of us collectively have sort of dropped our expectations a little bit from competing for the NL West title and just competing to get into the postseason. What is that number going to be? Is it going to be 86 this year? Is that how you get in as a wild card team? Padres have to get to there. So if it's 85, Padres have to get to there. Whatever you can do to be a wild card team this year, I would probably take a slight over on the 85.5.
Yeah, I understand why it's dropped a little bit from last year because, as we've been talking about for months, the division got better, not just the Dodgers, the Diamondbacks, and the Giants. Yeah, I think they hit this. I think they narrow. I think it's a very good line. I would lean slight over. I'm with you, Fletch, 86, 87, because it is a very talented team, but we're going to see early. I think we're going to know if this is going to hit within the first month because the Padres are dealing with a lot of injuries. They don't have the same pitching depth in the bullpen and certainly in the starting lineup that they had last year. And with the Yu Darvish news, how is Kolek? How is Vasquez? How is Hart? How are these guys going to be early? Because there's not really a lot of room for error for the first month. I know Kevin was on our show talking about how it's such a long season and you got to not overreact. But the first month or two, they really got to tread water. They cannot dig themselves a massive hole.
Games in March and April count just as much as games in July and August.
And you saw the Padres were really heating up down the stretch there, and they kind of gassed out at the end of the year. You wonder if they would have been able to coast a little bit more in the playoffs. If it changes, we'll never know. Number 3, March Madness Sweet 16 getting back underway on Thursday. We're all very excited for that. What is your number 1 upset pick, Fletch, that you are picking in the Sweet 16 right now? If you want me to go first, I can.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead? Let me pull it up real quick so I can take a better look. By the way, you'll hear every game of the Sweet 16 right here on San Diego Sports 760, your home of March Madness.
Number 1, I've already said multiple times on this show, I think Arizona is beating Duke. They're 9.5-point dogs. I think Arizona is a team with Caleb Love. They have the bigs to match up against Duke. Duke's depth is usually just too much for a lot of teams. And in Arizona, not quite as good as Duke, obviously, but has the depth to match it, and they have the star power to go toe for toe. And I think KJ Lewis also will be guarding Cooper Flagg. And I'll give you a second one, Fletch, before you go.
No, because you might steal mine.
Okay.
BYU over Alabama.
That's a good pick. BYU can score. That's going to be bet the over in that one.
Yeah, BYU can easily get into the 90s. They got who's that stud on the inside for them? Their big guy who went BF off against Wisconsin.
I know you're talking about. Yeah,
he's a beast. He really is. So BYU 6 seed being a number 2 Alabama seed. Alabama is like Alabama always is, long, athletic, talented scorers. Also, we are going to have a crazy high scoring game. Don't be surprised if it's like a 97-95 finish. But BYU playing as well as they played the last 2 or 3 weeks down the stretch of their regular season into their conference tournament, into the NCAA tournament, BYU would be my upset pick.
I also think that people are disrespecting Arkansas a little bit. Vegas isn't. The spread is only 5.5, even though they are a 10 seed playing Texas Tech.
One of the best head coaches in the country.
Calipari's exceptional. You just beat a preseason number 1 in Kansas, then you go and beat St. John's. You basically get their star player fouled out of the game with about 5 minutes to go. Arkansas is a really good team. This is not a Cinderella team that you look at that doesn't have talent. They have All-Americans on their team. They just couldn't really put it together. They started 0-5 in the SEC. I think Arkansas could upset Texas Tech as well.
I could be wrong on this, but John Calipari has a book that I read at one point. I think he wrote it. I don't think it was someone who wrote it for him. It was fantastic. I got to find it and try to give it to you, Sammy. I don't know if you're a big reader or not.
Nothing about me speaks literature. I have many leather-bound books.
I have no idea, but I believe he wrote it. I read it when I was like 13 years old, but it was amazing. Well done. His strategies of coaching and everything. I'll try to find it and see if I still have it. Really good book. But John Calipari, one of the best head coaches in the country. It's weird seeing him in an Arkansas pullover instead of a Kentucky one.
It's weird.
But
imagine if this is not going to happen, but imagine if he met Kentucky and then Natty.
It'd be bizarre. It'd be weird. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, Padres are 2 days away from opening day. Have they gotten this figured out yet? Are we confident with who they're putting out there on day 1 of the season against Atlanta? And the NFL draft sneaking up on us. We haven't really talked about it much because of March Madness, because of Padres, because of basketball. But let's get into it a little bit. NFL draft, Padres coming up next. San Diego Sports 760. San Diego Sports 760. It is the Fletch Zone here, noon to 2 every single day. My name is Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long. Thank you for being here with us. And I do mean with us because on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760, you can find us and you can stream us live every single day. Tons of comments coming in on the YouTube chat. Alexander, make it a ring box, talking about Sammy's suggestion that I do the Justin Timberlake, Andy Samberg thing for my anniversary. Won't be doing that.
Well, I mean, we're trying to help you out. I don't understand why you won't just take advice.
Alfred says, yo, Fletch and Sammy, listen to you guys every day. Even gave up Jim Rome when he moved into your time slot. Would it be possible to bring back Bar Car Fridays? Love you guys, LFGS.
Shout out to you, Alfred. Thank you, man.
I don't know about Bar Car Friday, but we'll see.
But maybe we'll have some drinking.
Maybe. Paris says, don't you think the defense got worse when Anthony Davis left? Oh, you are stabbing at the heart of Sammy Long.
That's what, in Paris, I appreciate this. This is what's crazy is that it didn't in fact, they got better, which was surprising to everyone. They were number one defensive efficiency with the lack of size. And then all of a sudden the last 2 days has been a disaster.
Pass Point Comics. Sammy, you need a haircut.
I need a haircut.
It's getting a little long.
Hell no, dude.
Yeah, you're offending.
Get no damn haircut. I appreciate you listening, but no, we got to have the flow ready for summer, dude.
And Paris says, I was the one who brought up 82 wins for the Padres this year. That's a pretty good number, Paris. It really is. All right. We said we were going to talk Padres. Let's talk some Padres. 82 might be right. 85.5 is where Vegas has it at right now. ESPN has them projected to get 84 wins. ESPN, along with Jeff Passan, who works with ESPN, have released their tiers heading into the 2025 season. There is one team that is all by their lonesome as a tier 1 baseball team heading into 2025. Any guesses on who that is? Should be pretty obvious.
The Los Angeles Dodgers.
It is as ESPN says, there's no bias here, I promise. As ESPN says, the almighty Dodgers sit on a throne by themselves, which is probably true. Their projected record is at 102-60, a 97.7% chance to make the postseason, a 28.4% chance to make it back to the World Series this year. And then you scroll. ESPN has tier 2, which they have labeled, I'm not even joking about this, by the way, the biggest threats to LA's throne. The Atlanta Braves, the Philadelphia Phillies, the New York Mets, the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Baltimore Orioles, the New York Yankees, and that's it.
I don't agree with the Yankees really being in there. I agree with all those other teams. I think the Diamondbacks, I'm very high on them. Ketel Marte, Corbin Carroll. I think Corbin Carroll kind of came out of that slump, and the pitching staff's unbelievable. The Mets make sense. They took the Dodgers 6 games last year. Lindor, they got really hot. They were awful the first half of the season. Got hot down the stretch. Kept Alonso. Got Juan Soto. Have a really good rotation. And the Phillies, we were talking about this yesterday, Fletch. It's kind of the same old thing. They're just older, but they got the bats, Schwarber, Harper, tons of guys there. I feel like the Yankees, though.
The Yankees have a team, like, if you were to take the best years of 4 or 5 of their players, it'd be like the best roster ever.
Yes.
Because, like, Cody Bellinger's had such a weird career. He's been so up and down. He's been at MVP seasons. He's been at the bottom of the barrel in some seasons. Giancarlo Stanton has years where sometimes he's hitting like 45 homers. Sometimes he hits 10, and he's injured all the time. Isn't Paul Goldschmidt on the Yankees now, too?
I got to check on that one.
I think he is. But if Paul Goldschmidt's there, you're talking about a dude who was a perennial MVP conversation who is just old. And that's pretty much all you can say about him. Now, they have the pitching rotation. They have Rodon.
Yeah, Paul Goldschmidt is there.
They have Max Fried, who could pitch like an ace this year, former Padre, by the way. But Max Fried is there now, and they got a couple other guys.
Yeah, the problem is that they got you lose Cole for the year. Because Fried was looking nasty. I mean, you saw in the World Series that it was kind of Cole starting against the Dodgers and it was no one else. And the second Cole got touched up in that 5th inning where the Dodgers came all the way back in Game 5, it was kind of it. They didn't have the starting rotation to go. And there was a lot of rumors where Aaron Boone got mad that the Dodgers were kind of talking mess. They had said before that they thought the Padres were actually the toughest team in the field, and it wasn't the Yankees. The Yankees just had the star power of a Soto, Judge, and Stanton, and obviously it's New York, so it brings the flashy headlines. But I don't know that I agree with them being in there. And then,
I didn't even mention Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge is unbelievable, but
it's still a Yankee. Could be the MVP of the AL this year.
Aaron Judge is unreal. I mean, this is not me casting anything on him, but it is kind of crazy in the short porch in the right field how many home runs he gets just hitting the short porch. It's like insane what he would do elsewhere.
Yeah, put him on the San Diego Padres, cut his home runs in half. That's probably accurate.
So tier 3, this is that they could be contenders. This is right below. It's the Rangers headlining that, the Red Sox, who got a lot better. They are an interesting team. And then the Padres. The Padres come in at 10 to overall on the rankings. This is tough for me because, yeah, if you go off, if you don't think that they got that much worse after losing Scott and Kim and a couple other guys, then I think this is fair. I think they're right there. I think the Padres and the Diamondbacks
think they should be lower.
No, I'm saying I think it's a fair area. I think they're 10 though, simply because the Diamondbacks, the Padres, the Giants have something that no other team in the Major League Baseball has. Even though the Dodgers are a juggernaut, and you look at the roster and you go, this is literally an all-star team that the Dodgers have. They're not scared of the Dodgers. The Padres brought that mentality last year. They beat them a couple years ago. Obviously lost last year, but they're not scared of the Dodgers. They go into a series with the Dodgers. You kind of throw the records out, and the Dodgers would definitely be favored. And on paper, they're the better team, and they just won the World Series. But I think you throw the records out, and it becomes kind of a dogfight. Whereas other teams, I think the Dodgers' talent just wins out. So I think this is fair to them being a 10.
I do too. That feels like it's about the right area. Look, the Padres, as of right this exact moment, the Padres team who was playing in October is worse today than it is in October.
Yes.
And that's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. And there's also this quote for Manny Machado. There's nothing better than having a championship team in your division that you can knock off. That was said just a few weeks ago in spring training when it got underway. Is that going to come back to bite him in the ass? I mean, are we really poking the bear right now, who just won the World Series, who, as Sammy said, and is true, has an all-star lineup on their team as we speak, maybe one of the greatest teams on paper heading into a season that baseball has ever seen in the Los Angeles Dodgers? But Manny Machado said that, and I don't know Manny Machado to be a guy who really minces words. He thought about this and still said it. Manny Machado, I think you're right. They do not fear the Dodgers. They play them more than anybody in baseball, and we'll see what the Padres can do to them. I wouldn't be surprised if in the regular season the Padres actually have the best record against the Dodgers.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised with that either.
They do that
because it's must-watch TV. You take baseball in a season that's kind of a drone. It's 162 game slate, and it's hard to really get excited for individual games. When the Padres and Dodgers play, it's fun. It's like Yankees, Red Sox, everyone tunes in. ESPN wrote a thing. I think this is very fair. How the Padres can be an October threat. With the Padres, it's quite simple. Their stars need to be stars. That means Tatis and Machado need to put up MVP caliber numbers. Bogaerts needs to resemble something closer to the hitter he was in Boston. Arise needs to keep setting the tone at the top of the lineup, and Darvish and Cease need to stay healthy. Darvish is not healthy right now, so we're not off to a great start there. But again, we've been saying this. The Padres have massive star power. They have the kind of big sluggers that you look for in a team that could surprise some people in the playoffs. But if Machado's going to shrink like he did last year and Bogaerts isn't going to find his form, it's pretty far-fetched.
Rich McGuire on YouTube says Fletch needs a haircut too. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Hey, shout out to Rich.
Not cool, Rich. Not cool, bro. Hey. Rich is in like his 50s, I think, has a full head of hair. I see him at every Aztecs game.
Very lush, dude. He's got at him. You know why? Because he took care of his hair. He's not tripping on acorns. He's making sure he's got the right product in his hair.
Let me tell you, I was 19 years old when I started going bald. That was a long time before.
How is that even possible?
Paris calls you a new name, Sammy Longhair.
Sammy Longhair. I like that.
It's not bad. It incorporates your whole name. That's a good one, Paris. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we did not get into the NFL draft here. We also have comments on the text line about the Tom Brady discussion from earlier. Brings up a really good point that Sammy and I did not hit on. We'll tell you what that is coming up next at San Diego Sports 760.
This report is sponsored by Jackson Hewitt. It matters who does your taxes. Padres getting a countdown to opening day. Padres will host the Atlanta Braves in a rematch of last year's wild card series. Chris Sale will be going for the Braves, so Michael King will get the opening day start for the Pods. Currently, the Braves are minus 130 with the Padres plus 110 on the money line. The total run line is 6.5. And Jimmy Butler will be making his return to Miami tonight, where the Golden State Warriors take on the Miami Heat. Golden State is currently favored by 5.5. That game will tip at 4:30. Jackson Hewitt, expert tax prep is now $149 or less, but only for a limited time. Hurry, book your appointment at jacksonhewitt.com today. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/49-19.
Nice song choice, Sammy Long. That's what we're talking about. Hey, you want to win a pair of tickets to go to the Outlaw Music Festival featuring Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, Billy Strings, and Sierra Hull at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater out in Chula Vista on May 15th? Well, for tickets and info, you visit Ticketmaster.com. If you want to win some free tickets, we'll do that in about 10 minutes. 877-767-4760. Sammy, you're in charge of reminding me. We will give those away in about 10 minutes. 747 texted in earlier in the show when we were talking about Tom Brady, who apparently has a newsletter, who apparently over the last 24 hours or so has written in that newsletter that he and Belichick had natural tension towards the end of their tenure as the Patriots quarterback and head coach. Tom Brady undug a beef that had been buried now for what feels like a couple years. It felt like we all moved past it. Bill Belichick went to the roast of Tom Brady. It felt like everything was copacetic. We're fine calling Bill Belichick the greatest head coach of all time, Tom Brady the greatest quarterback of all time, the Patriots dynasty with the two of them as the greatest dynasty of all time. Not anymore, because now Tom Brady talked about it again, and Tom Brady brought it back up. He unburied the beef. 747 says, remember, Tom Brady is the biggest narcissist in all of sports. He announced a fake retirement the week before the Super Bowl when everyone knew he'd be on a team by opening week, then came out of retirement on Selection Sunday for March Madness. He needs to have the limelight. This man told his wife and kids, football is more important than you'll ever be in my life. No wonder she got the kids and is happy with another child. Brady makes Aaron Rodgers look humble.
Ooh. Shout out to 747.
747 coming in with the heat. He also says Tom Brady gets so insecure if his name is not mentioned. Now, this is the narrative that we all talk about with Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. That when everything else is going on and the limelight's on football, Aaron Rodgers has to find a darkness retreat or an ayahuasca trip or a new girlfriend named something Blue. I can't remember what her name was.
He's got a new girl?
No, this was a couple years ago.
It was Danica Patrick was the last one, I thought.
No, that was a long time ago. He's had like a fiance since then,
Olivia
I think.
Munn. That was before Danica Patrick.
The girl from something about American Teenagers. I can't remember. What's her name? She was also in Big Little Lies.
Is it Olivia Munn?
No, it's on the tip of my tongue.
I don't know. Whatever, we'll figure it out.
Damn it. This is going to bother me. What was her name? Text line, help us out. 70470. Start your message with team. But we do always talk about this with Aaron Rodgers, that if the limelight is somewhere else, he finds a way to weasel his way into the conversation. But is Tom Brady's image so squeaky clean that we just avoid this about Tom Brady? Or is he just as guilty as Aaron Rodgers?
It's interesting because like hearing Rich tell stories about, he obviously played on team. He tells the great story about the beer drinking. He's just kind of one of the guys and pounding back drinks. I think there's something to branding. And I've always said this about, I think why people like Josh Allen, they like Patrick Mahomes, even though they may not like them because their teams beat them. But in terms of like quarterback branding, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, they're on the golf course and Mahomes is talking about, I need my swing juice. I need a silver bullet. And they're doing Coors Lights. Aaron Rodgers feels like the guy who orders chocolate beer that's been aged for 10 years on a Stone IPA and all. Like he's not relatable. He's very techie. San Francisco. It's very kind of high society. Kind of gives off the vibe like I'm better than you and I know it. And the fact that I have to talk to you right now is a little bit annoys me. Brady's a lot more charming than that. Brady gives off the vibe. He's kind of one of the guys, even though he's not. He's obviously like looks like a male model, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, dating supermodels. But like he kind of is a little bit different. So I think he kind of evades that talk where Aaron Rodgers is eccentric dude, and he makes it very clear. I mean, half the time, Aaron Rodgers and Anthony Davis are a lot alike to me. It's like I'm gonna tell you why. And I love Anthony Davis. I love Anthony Davis way more than Aaron Rodgers. They're both extremely skilled athletes. If you said top 5 in skill, Aaron Rodgers would be all time and Anthony Davis would be in the league today. But it's guys who don't love the game. Aaron Rodgers gives off the vibe like Tom Brady loves football. Josh Allen loves football. Patrick Mahomes loves football. You can tell. Aaron Rodgers is like, yeah, I'm great at football, so this is what I do. But at the end of the day, I'd rather be hosting Jeopardy. And I think that kind of flows through why Brady doesn't get the criticism that 747 kind of outlaid for us that an Aaron Rodgers does.
Because what we do know about Tom Brady, what we've heard from guys like Rich Orenberger, who Rich has no reason to lie about this, Tom Brady outworked every single person in the room. We haven't necessarily heard that about Aaron Rodgers. And who knows if it's true or not.
That's a great point. You have a guy in Tom Brady who was a 6th-round draft pick, was not a big-time player at Michigan, rode the bench, and had to work his way up. Aaron Rodgers was always the golden boy. He was supposed to go number 1, and your Niners took Alex Smith, and he fell. So it's always kind of been, it's a little bit more relatable, even though the Tom Brady's not really relatable, but that he was very doubted in his life.
It is the underdog story. It's the Steph Curry effect.
Right.
You feel similar thoughts about both of them. And then Tom Brady works his way up to be the greatest of all
and that's
time.
why Steph's so popular. People love Steph. They like that story.
However, Tom has become a little more nauseating over the years since his retirement. It's like the last super, super likable moment of Tom Brady was him being drunk as a skunk walking off of the boat in the Tampa Bay Super Bowl parade.
I didn't enjoy that at all.
You didn't like that? Oh, because he beat the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Well, take your own personal emotions out of it. That was actually a pretty relatable moment for Tom Brady, who was like, all right, reached the top of Everest one time, came back down, worked as hard as I could to get back up to the top of it. Now I'm going to enjoy myself because I don't need to do this ever again.
559 says the text from the phone number 747 or from Aaron Rodgers' burner phone.
Maybe. Also, 858 says Shailene Woodley.
That's who, The Fault in Our Stars. That's who he.
I don't know about that movie.
No, that's what she's famous from. The Fault in Our Stars.
I think so. There was some ABC television show from when I was like 14 years old that she's famous from. And then she was on an HBO show a couple years ago. Fault in Our Stars. That's the movie about cancer?
Yeah, the guy's got cancer.
She had a similar haircut to you in that movie. She really
Shailene
did.
Woodley.
It was as if she took a Sammy Long wig
going on.
Yeah. That was a sad movie, man.
Yeah, it's very depressing. I saw it in theaters. I was like, this is not, I don't feel good after I saw this.
I didn't know that was her, but I think you might be right. Yeah, Tom Brady, that stuff's funny, man. I did see 619 wild take, Sammy. I don't see that at all with AD. The AD thing, I don't know where that comes from.
Anthony Davis is not crazy like Aaron Rodgers is, but Anthony Davis, in what I'm trying to say is he's extremely skilled. If you took top 5 skilled players in the NBA today, Anthony Davis would be in the discussion to be in the top 5 in terms of skill. In terms of, I want to be the best basketball player there is. Like LeBron is age 40 and spends over $1 million a year on his body. So whatever you want to say about LeBron James is invested in being able to continue playing. Anthony Davis, for years, people would criticize. I mean, it's like all these injuries might not be happening if you were in better shape. And I think that's where that comes from.
Maybe you could say the same thing about Zion Williamson, who everyone said was
another player with immense talent that seems to be wasting it.
John Morant, who just keeps flashing guns on Instagram.
Yeah, John Morant for other reasons.
If he wouldn't do that, who knows? We'd be talking about him as maybe one of the greats. All right, we do have a pair of tickets for you to go see the Outlaw Music Festival. Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, Billy String, Sierra Hull at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater out in Chula Vista on May 15th. Tickets and info, you can go to Ticketmaster.com. Jeremy won these tickets yesterday on the show. Who's going to win them today? 877-767-4760. We will give them to caller number 7. Padres, opening day, 2 days. John and Jim will have a special live broadcast downtown. I will let them break the news, not me. But everybody is welcome to come to that, and we can't wait for it, man. We're pumped up. When baseball time comes around in San Diego, it's a pretty exciting time. Kevin Acee, who we had on earlier on the show today, at 12:30. If you missed it, go catch it on the podcast. Just search Fletch Zone into the free iHeartRadio app. You can find it. Kevin Acee has a new article out within the last 24 hours that we didn't really talk to him about because it's a lot of numbers and it's a lot of I don't know that it translates very well to radio, but it's about the fact that the Padres, who are a mid-market, small market team compared to some of the other ones, and the payroll and the money that some other teams bring in, a la the Dodgers, a la the Yankees, a la the Mets, is not available to the San Diego Padres. But because of Padres fans filling up Petco Park the way you have, filling it up like it's never been filled up before, the Padres are still able to make some serious moves. They still have a top half payroll in all of baseball, which does not compute to the market size that they have, which does not compute to the fact that they don't have a TV deal. But I know that we all bitch and moan, and it's rightful, man, that because Peter Seiler's not here, the spending has gone down with the Padres. But I think Kevin's article that he has in the UT as of today kind of makes you grateful that the Padres are spending what they are spending. And the fact that we probably nearly avoided a complete teardown, a complete rebuild. Think about what we do have going into this year as Padre fans. Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado fully healthy coming into a season. I don't know when the last time necessarily there was no suspension, no health problem, no nothing for those two guys who are bona fide superstars at their positions coming into a year. I'm excited. I'm pumped up for Thursday. I cannot wait for opening day and to see what this season has, because we have everybody's 0-0 at this point outside of the Dodgers, who already have a couple wins under their belt. But we'll see what lies over 162 game season. Sammy, who was our winner today for those Outlaw Music Festival tickets?
Scott. Scott's excited to go to the show.
What's up, Scott? Thank you for being here today. Thank you for listening. We will take our final break of the day. When we come back, we'll get you set for John and Jim. We will take a look at, which we still haven't done for some reason, at the NFL draft, which is coming up in just weeks. San Diego Sports 760, thank you for being here. Spring has sprung. With springtime here, that means baseball season is here. And with baseball season here, you need the Prize Picks app on your phone. Download it today. Use promo code Fletch, FLETCH. Take a look at some of the season-long entries that you can make right now on Padres players, on players in the NL West, on players all across baseball. You could cook up a fire season-long entry right now on the Prize Picks app. And then come Thursday, you can start making lineups that have to do with that day. Fernando Tatis Jr., more than 2.5 hits. Manny Machado, more than 2 RBIs in a game. That's what you can get on Prize Picks. Download it today. Use promo code Fletch, FLETCH, and start winning some serious cash. Tens of millions of people are already playing Prize Picks. What are you waiting for? Billions of dollars have already been awarded in winnings. Over 4,200 of that has gone straight into my bank account. Download the Prize Picks app today. Turn your hot sports opinions into hot cash with Prize Picks, and you could run your game all season long, all around the base paths, like a Grand Slam right here in Grand Slam Diego. And you could win serious cash on Prize Picks. Run your game. Tomorrow at 6 o'clock right here on San Diego Sports 760, it's SDFC Midweek Live. Hear from the head coach, Mikey Varas, as well as interviews with players and coaches. Find out the latest club and MLS information hosted by Adrian Garcia Marquez and Darren Smith. SDFC Midweek Live every Wednesday, 6 o'clock on your home for SDFC San Diego Sports 760. If you've listened to this station for the last few years, if you were a listener of Big Rich, TD, and Fletch back when we were here in the mornings, and still follow us over on 101.5 KGB in the mornings, you know what the best bracket ever is. The best bracket ever launched in 2022, I believe, and it happened right here in this studio as it was the weekend before March Madness got going, and we put the best things in the world. We threw them all on one bracket, and it exploded on the internet, and everybody voted on it. I mean, we did not do the best bracket ever this year. That was asked a lot of times, and I kind of feel like that's its own thing that lives in its own infamy. We did do Meat Madness this year. I like Meat Madness. We are currently in the Meat 16. We are heading to the Elite 8, spelled ATE.
Whose meat was the best?
Well, that's very funny you mentioned that, Sammy, because it's actually meat that you eat, not the other thing that you were thinking about.
How do you know that's what I was thinking about?
So right now at Big Rich TD Fletch on Twitter, on Instagram, you can go find all our posts about this. On TikTok, there's a video of me breaking down all the matchups that are going on in the Meat 16 that we got going. But just so we all are aware of what's going on here and what's at stake, bacon versus cold cuts. It's a overwhelming victory for bacon. It should be. The 2 versus 7 was ribs and beef jerky. Ribs has the lead so far. 3 versus 6 on the east side of the bracket was the New York strip versus lobster. A little
New York
surprised.
Strip, easy.
Yeah, but a lot of people love lobster, but that's 67.
Lobster's great, but the problem is too expensive. You can't eat lobster all the time.
Yeah, but think about New York. Think about surf and turf. It is usually a New York strip with lobster on the same plate. That's what I like to order.
Even though lobster's great.
4 versus 5 in the West was ground beef and hot dogs.
Ground beef, easy.
See, you would think, but that's really pitting hot dogs against hamburgers.
Give me a hamburger.
I would probably agree with you, but I don't know. I think I voted
because the only time I'll eat a hot dog is at a ballpark.
Yeah, or like barbecue.
Yeah, but at the same time, if there's a choice between a burger and a hot dog, I'm taking the burger.
You never had like that college diet going where it was just sliced up hot dog with Easy Mac from Kraft?
Yeah,
I lived for months on that.
That's disgusting.
The 1 versus 8 in the East was filet mignon versus tuna.
Filet mignon, easy.
4 versus 5 in the East. This is actually the first upset we've had so far. 4 was the fried chicken. 5 was the brisket. Brisket is winning.
That's tough. I don't know where I go with that.
4 or 5 matchups are tricky. The 3 versus the 6 out in the West was tri-tip against pork chop.
Tri-tip, definitely tri-tip.
Tri-tip has 69% of the vote. Pork chop at 31. So get on over to Big Rich TD and Fletch. We need your vote. We need your voice. Your voice will be heard over there. And check us out on TikTok too, at Big Rich TD Fletch. You can see the video.
And if you want to make us number 1, the Fletch Zone on your presets, it would be greatly appreciated. Our bosses will come in and be very happy with us.
Please do. It'd be great if the Fletch Zone was your number 1 and the Big Rich TD and Fletch was.
It'd be perfect. That's what's on mine.
That's what it should be. I think that's what's on mine too, Sammy.
Yeah.
So here we go. But we have a lot of fun over there. So honestly, if you want to make a day of it, listen to Big Rich TD and Fletch in the morning. Listen to the Fletch Zone from noon to 2 every single day. And we are on YouTube now, San Diego Sports 760. You can find us there if you just type it into the old YouTube search bar. Tried that out today. Give us a subscription. John and Jim will broadcast live there every single day. Sammy and I will broadcast live every single day as well. Rich says, I'm taking bacon versus wings for the finale. Bacon wins, of course.
Oh, I would go.
What about a bacon wrapped wing?
I would go, Rich, I appreciate that. I would go bacon's, but then you got to give up bacon. But the problem is like no more wings with wings.
Neither of those
pizza.
are cow.
Huh?
I like cow too much. That can't be my final.
Yeah, that's hard.
See, and you almost have to take bacon as a standalone, right? You can't take it like bacon wrapped jalapenos. You can't say bacon wrapped this. It's
because you take bacon out, then it's they're not on burgers. I love bacon on burger.
Same.
The thing is, I probably eat wings more than I eat bacon, so I probably lean wings, even though giving up bacon would be absolutely brutal.
Wings are good, man. It's a tough bracket. Look, we didn't make it to be easy. We made it to be tough. The selection committee slaved over it for hours and hours and hours to try to build this thing up, and the Meat 16 is going on.
I bet TD was an expert at this.
TD tried really hard to squeeze some weird stuff in there, and we were keeping him out. Like he's a weird guy.
He's a little freak.
Love that man.
TD is.
And the dude probably spends more time in front of his smoker than any of us, but he was trying to get some weird stuff on the bracket. We had to tone him down a little bit. Thank you for being here today. Again, my name is Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long. We do this every day from noon to 2. We covered a lot today. White Lotus, Yellowstone popped up somehow.
We got Tom Padres, Brady. We got Lakers, we got we had Aztecs, we had everything.
Padres coming up in 2 days. I do love opening day in Major League Baseball.
Opening day is the best. Opening day is so fun.
That's the day where I kind of go back into my truck and I look in any of the, the little holders on the side to see if I have any sunflower seeds left in there from a long drive and take them home and just sit on the couch all day and watch baseball. One of my favorites.
Yeah. I'd rather go with wings and sunflower seeds. Now you got me hungry.
You don't like cracked pepper sunflower seeds?
No, I'm not a sunflower seed guy.
Dude, I could go on some cracked pepper sunflower seeds for like 12 hours straight. I love them. All right, that's about it for us today. John and Jim are coming up next. They probably have an announcement coming up about where you could go on Thursday to hang out with the crew. I'll be downtown as well on Thursday, so stay tuned to John and Jim to find out what that is. It's San Diego Sports 760. We will see you mañana.